What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Tonight, it is KFL tonight. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Robert Brown is unavailable to host the show tonight, so he asked yours truly to come on and talk to these guys, the Pennsylvania Bronzebacks from Pennsylvania. Man, I'll tell you, this is an impressive group, and let's go ahead and just get them on right now as we speak. We've got these boys coming from Pennsylvania. Guys, good evening. How are y'all doing?
Good, Greg. How about you?
We're doing good. We got Ryan and Nick all in the same car, getting off the water, I see.
Yep.
Yeah, man. And Yakfish Chris. Chris, what's your last name, man?
Santora.
Okay, Chris Santora. And then Mark McHammer. Is that right? How do you say it?
Markham, close enough, Greg.
Very good. Well, gentlemen, hope everybody's doing well, man. It's almost here, guys. I'm biting at the bit. I don't know about you, man, but I'm ready to settle some scores on the water. What about y'all?
Yeah, we can't wait for the season to start. We're getting real excited. The Susquehanna River is starting to heat up after the spawn, and I'm thinking the fishing's going to be good in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna kind of talk about your team, and then individually, and then kind of talk about some action we got going on this weekend or in 2 weeks. Your first matchup is against Bay State Attack, I believe, at home. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely, man. I tell you, things have really heated up since the last time we kind of really started this whole thing, and I tell you, man. It's already been a matchup with you guys. I mean, with Ryan and Nick, I have to tell you, man, I'm super impressed with you guys. You guys are putting on a show here as of late, man. Ryan, I think you're sitting in 9th in points with the AOI with KBF, and I think, Nick, you're sitting around 12th, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yep.
You guys put on a show here at the Potomac River and then went up to Candlewood?
Yeah, yep, and we're actually at St. Clair right now, just pre-fishing out here.
One of my favorite lakes, if not my favorite lake in the world, man.
I'll tell you, it's awesome out here. We literally woke up. We got in here 3:30 in the morning. Drove in yesterday, and we only had maybe 3 hours of sleep. Got out here at we were out at like 8-9 o'clock. We got out and going, and we just get off the water right now. So we're just heading back. So,
and how'd your boys do?
We did good. We put up some good numbers. Wasn't easy fishing though. We weren't doing as good as we want to. So we're still looking at checking out some other spots and different approaches. But we did good. So definitely no complaints. I mean, we were having a good time out there. That's why obviously we're coming out of the water so late. But we're looking forward to going out tomorrow and trying a different spot.
For sure.
Going at it again.
For sure. Well, Ryan, Ryan and Nick, you're kind of heading up the team and all the basically back end stuff with the team, and there's a lot to it. But talk about the KFL, man. Talk about what got you interested in the KFL, and what drew you to it, and then what made you decide to go ahead and get a team, man. I mean, let's talk about from the very beginning.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to me that really attracted me to the KFL is the team aspect of it. It's always fun fishing with your buddies. Who doesn't like fishing with their buddies? And just being able to go out and compete with some of the greatest kayak anglers in Pennsylvania, it's just going to be a great time. I think the KFL gives you an opportunity to get your name out there, to get your state's name out there, to put your area on the map. That all appeals to me.
Yeah, I mean, Nick just hit it on the head right there. Just the fact that we all like to fish together. We all have a good time fishing together. And that's what makes the whole kayak community so much fun. And the way that the format of the KFL works and combining team scores and using that as your score as opposed to an individual angler approach, it really just kind of takes that team approach to the whole next level. And we all just think that's just like incredible. I mean, it's just how epic and how many different forms of ways and approaches you can go about it. I mean, you're fishing a body of water, and then when you're fishing solo, man, you make your call. You might have 3 or 4 spots you kind of want to go to. Now you can kind of go to all 4 of those spots, send a different guy to each one, and kind of have different strategies. Send a guy big fish hunting, send a guy there where he can go get some numbers and make sure he's safe there. So I mean, it just adds a whole new dynamic to kayak fishing. And I mean, I'll tell you, Greg, I'm super excited, but I can't wait to get going and try the first game here. So.
Yeah, man. We've had an opportunity to do a couple preseason games against Norfolk, and we're 1-1, man. We split the preseason, and they're becoming more and more a thorn in my side. It's like and literally like a rivalry for us, and we're gonna give a little taste of what's to come. We got to get through Detroit. We're not looking ahead by any means, man, but I can't wait, man. Our jerseys came in. And there's something special about when you see your last name and a number on back of a jersey. You get ready to put it on and represent your state, your team, and your region, man. I don't care. I don't care what it is. It's game on, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank Chris. He did a really good job. I mean, we were struggling with the jerseys a little bit, and he took the lead on that, and he got ours put together, and we have them in our possession now. So we're again the jerseys being ready to get out there. I mean, I'm pumped, man. I can't wait to get out there. I mean, we got a game coming up here just around the corner, so it's literally gonna be a blast, and I can't wait to get going on it.
Chris, I don't want to put you on the spot, man. Do you have you have those jerseys in front of you or near you?
Yeah, let me go grab one.
I've got to go see it, man. This is going to be a jersey revealing. Mark, while he's doing that, my friend, when Nick and Ryan came up to you, man, and talked to you about this whole concept, man, what was your first reaction?
Well, what a privilege. First of all, I can't thank those guys enough. I mean, those two guys and Mick, they reached out to me, and what an opportunity for me. I started it competitively fishing in 2018, and when I heard this concept, it was a no-brainer. There's Chris now.
There you go. Let me see those things. Beautiful, beautiful. There you go, man. I love it. I love it, man. Great number.
right.
That's
so
great.
Yeah. We went with the. We had to take the keystone as kind of like a badge, so we put it up.
Yeah.
Kind of close to here. And
absolutely.
Then we went with logo, and then we went with a number on the sleeve too. Really pulling in that team aspect of a jersey. So.
Yeah, man. Who did your logo design? I got to ask.
That was actually my brother Matt. He's a graphic artist. He actually lives in Portland now, and he's doing graphic artist work out there, and he designed it up for me.
They say the logos, the simpler the better. I love the old school style logo, man. You perfectly, did it with the Keystone logo, the Bronzeback. I mean, it's just great, man. It's a great logo. I love it, man. Right. Solid job by your brother.
Thank you.
For sure. Well, Mark, let's get back to you, buddy. So yeah, you were talking about how you did like the team concept and representing your area, man. What else, man? I mean, did you play sports or as a youth, and does it kind of remind you of getting back in those times or?
Yeah. So for me, I was a high school wrestler, so
there you go.
Being competitive, that's part of the being in your blood, But yeah, it's as far as the team, I always say that if you want to have success, you surround yourself with great people. And I couldn't have asked for a better opportunity. These guys are very helpful. We help each other out quite a bit. We get along very well. A lot of joking around, carrying on with each other. And it's just a great concept. You have a team that kind of exactly what Ryan was saying. It's just a different concept altogether. And you can rely on your teammates either to pick you up or help you out. So it's a good concept. It really is.
Mark, how long have you been fishing in a kayak?
So I started fishing in the kayak about 2017, and then, like I said, competitively 2018. But I've fished the Juniata and Susquehanna rivers my entire life. We have camps up on the Juniata, and I'd spend entire summers up there and do nothing but fishing. So, yeah, it's my strong point would be fishing on the rivers, and I have a little bit more to learn on the lakes. But with these guys helping me, I'll get there.
So it was funny, man. I was talking to some guys from Indianapolis the other day, and they're getting ready to go to West Virginia. And I think one person on their team has ever fished a river. And they're kind of nervous about it. What advice would you give anyone who is fishing a river the first time in a kayak?
For me, a lot of guys, when they're fishing lakes, they talk about fishing fast. They want to get their bait in front of as many fish as they can. For me on the river, I like to slow it down. I really like to pick the river apart. A lot of areas that I fish on the Susquehanna, your boats aren't going to get to. The conditions can get really low in the summertime for us. And again, I just like to slow it down and pick each section apart. So, I mean, my advice would be just slow down, and pick your spots and fish them hard. And I think you'll be successful.
Got a comment. Damn, didn't realize Chris Santoro is on the squad. He's a hammer. They ain't playing around. Exactly. Well, Mark, talk about yourself, man. Obviously you love fishing and all that stuff, but let's get to know Mark McHammer. Let's get to know him, man. What's your passions? Are you married? Do you have kids, grandkids? I mean, who are you?
Okay, so yeah, I'm married. My wife Brooke, and we have 2 beautiful daughters. They are very successful. My oldest daughter has just become an attorney.
Very nice.
My youngest daughter is at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and she is 2 years into pharmacy school there. So we have 2 great girls. We lead a pretty simple life here in our small town. I've grown up here in our mountains, hunting and fishing. It's just something that was put in me from being young. And so I enjoy the outdoors. My family enjoy the outdoors. We like taking camping trips, especially when the girls were younger. We did a lot of camping and that type of thing. So, yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Country boy.
Cool.
Live in a small town here and in a small valley. So yeah, but
give me one awesome fishing memory on a kayak.
Well, it wasn't too long ago, actually. So I went to one of our favorite lakes here in the area, and I believe in one day, I put up 97 inches.
Whew.
90. I want to say 97. I don't know if that's correct or not. I believe it is. But it was just phenomenal. It was one of the best days I've ever had on the water. I can say, though, that I do enjoy fishing for smallmouth a lot more than I do for largemouth. So I
think everybody in Pennsylvania can say that.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about me. But if I have a choice, I'd sooner be on the river. That's my strength. I got you.
What number did you choose for your team?
I chose number 10, and that's a lifetime number since I was young, and so that's the number I chose.
Very cool, man. Well, look, are you starting this next weekend?
I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, very good, man. We're looking forward to seeing what you do on the board, man.
Thanks.
It's gonna be really cool. Chris, let's get to you, man. Talk about yourself, man. Where are you from, and what got you in kayak fishing and all that good stuff, bud?
So my name's Chris Santoro. I'm a Gemini.
Me too.
I am. No.
My birthday's Friday or Saturday.
Nice. My birthday was a couple weeks ago. No, but seriously, my name's Chris Santoro. I'm from southeastern Pennsylvania. Grew up right outside of Philadelphia in the King of Prussia area.
Yep.
Grew up mostly wade fishing, trout fishing. That's the big thing in southeastern PA is truck trout and chasing them, from the beginning of April to the end of May. And then as I got older, my grandfather started to trust me with a fishing rod more and more. So he took me to more places to catch more species. And I grew up fishing crappie and walleye and all that kind of stuff. And then I hit about 12 years old, and I said, wait, how do I get out there? How do I get out into the middle of the water? Because I see all these guys catching fish out there, and I'm stuck over here on the bank. So ended up getting a little canoe and going out that way for probably 2 or 3 years. Hung it up when high school football got serious, and I had to start thinking about college and where I was going to play and things like that. So went back to the bank. Always fished. Didn't stop doing that. And then I hit about 17 years old. And the whole stress of trying to pick a college for football was pretty immense. So I was like, what do I do? I got that canoe back out and I went fishing, and I haven't really looked back since. So Yeah, the canoe was from 17 to about 20. So that was what, 2010. So 2010, I got rid of the canoe and got in my first kayak, and it was a Lifetime Teton, like the original from BJ's. It was like
Right.
$120. But it got me on the water, and I
Sure.
rigged that thing out. And I met some extraordinary people as far as like kayak fishing history goes, like guys from the Jersey Shore that are just the guys who pretty much invented the way we kayak fish. Like like the Mullet Miller cart, the guy who's the name behind that. Basically the people who were the first to put crates on the back
What
of their
about
kayak.
Chris McAtee?
So I've met C Money a couple of times. I know my buddies that I fish with pretty regularly in this area. They know him a lot better than I do. But yeah, he's so the lakes that he's ice fishing
He
for
was
muskie.
very
that's where I grew
instrumental
up.
in me getting a Hobie. I wanted to go out and saw him get those stripers, and him and Elias. Actually, Elias turned out to be a good friend of mine, but those guys were instrumental in me getting into kayak fishing.
Dude, don't even get me started on those Elias shads. Those V shads are
Dude, bass. Dude,
Yeah.
bass fishing. Like,
I know. Shh, stop it.
just
Stop it.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
and only two colors. Give me pink and white, and I'm set.
Oh, absolutely. 100% agree with you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of then I migrated into fishing some of the bigger freshwater reservoirs around here, and then college came, hung the kayak up for a little bit, and then as soon as I graduated, I went back fishing hard, got myself into bass boat tournaments, any kind of way to compete that I could, because I was done playing college football and I just wanted that back. So tournaments were the next kind of best thing for me. And I got involved with the Tuesday nighters at a local lake, the Thursday nighters at another local lake. And then I was eventually fishing, the PA Bass Nation team trail, and then the Fishers of Men team trail for PA. And then I got back in the kayak in probably 2015. And I dusted off that Lifetime, and I fished, what were they? It was the Manly Rod series, what kayak fishing series, the KFS. There was an event on Lake Marburg in Pennsylvania, and that was my first like national level kayak tournament.
Right.
And I didn't catch a single fish. I didn't pre-fish. I didn't do anything. I literally went out and I watched my buddy Dustin catch a 22. And I took some great pictures of it. And that was my first like big tournament.
Hey, dude, could you take some pictures of this?
Exactly. Exactly. So
I hate those guys.
but that was my first tournament. I think that was 2016. So then 2 weeks later, I was in an Old Town Predator, thanks to John Ost and Brian Swingle, and watching their stuff and getting in touch with them. And like my buddies at the kayak fishing store in New Jersey pointed me in that right direction. And that's been history ever since. And it's just been down the road since then, from making videos to, working with companies directly on developing products and baits and all sorts of stuff. It's been, man, quite a fun ride for the past.
Taking this seriously, man. I love this, dude.
Yeah, this is the first year I'm not going to ICAST. I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I want to get down there too. So let's get back into your sports background, man. I mean, that's a big deal, dude. I mean, playing high school ball, what were you, like a guard, tackle?
I played center. I played both ways in high school, and then in college I played center.
Okay. And so I take it your number was 69 in high school, right?
It wasn't. It was 63. I went to a college high school. We weren't allowed to, or a Catholic high school. We weren't allowed to have that number.
I got you, man. I got you.
Otherwise, I would have. I took the sticker that goes on the back of the helmet.
Right.
That was number 69, but I wore 63 since they didn't have the jersey.
I got you. So you got recruited to college ball. I mean, was it double A, single A, or one?
So I got recruited all over the place, and I wanted to go somewhere I wanted to play right away, and I ended up going to a small school, Ursinus, which is, I thought I was going to be that guy that goes across the country, so far away from home. I ended up 7 minutes away from where I grew up, and honestly, it wasn't that bad though, because I still went home on Monday nights for pasta, brought my laundry home. It was a good time.
That's great, man.
But yeah, I ended up going away to a small school because they were like, hey, you'll play right away. I ended up walking in and starting right away. So I said no to some of the bigger schools and went with the tiny school, because to be honest, I knew there wasn't anything after. Yeah. There was no pro career. There was no, I was already washed up at that point. I knew my body wasn't going to take it. So
right. Well, I mean, and the reason why I asked that is because, you understand really intimately how this concept works about it being a team, working together, and developing that competitive spirit and putting a jersey on and going to somebody else's house and kicking their ass. Right. That's
Yeah.
what we wanted to do, man. I mean, that's, I know it's fishing. It's just fishing. You're not like, in a physical contact.
It's not
deal.
just fishing, Greg.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. But I mean, it's the competitive see, like, I played multi-sports, man. I mean, I played baseball, I played football, I played baseball, basketball, and just a multi. I was always, I was only either in the gym or in a field. You know what I mean? 365, 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? It was just crazy. But when you get old and fat and your body breaks down, like you talked about, I mean, you don't ever lose that competitive edge, and that's what I love about. Fishing's not just a hobby for me; it's a way to release that competitive edge that you constantly have. I'm 44 years old, getting ready to turn 44. I still have it, man. I mean, I can't do what I used to do, but I still have that need to compete.
I don't think you ever lose that. I don't think it ever goes away. And I think that, like I tried the whole coaching route. I coached for a high school team for 3-4 years. That wasn't enough. And I needed to get into tournament fishing because it was me competing not only against myself, but other people. And like you said, the jersey, I put on a jersey and I literally represent those companies. Like that's my team. Like Z-Bait, like those are some of my best friends that started this company and have exploded. Swagger Tungsten, my boy Travis. It's like, hey, like I'm on your team. I'm here representing you. Like I'm going out there for you. And it's when every time I hit the water, it's like I'm doing this for something else other than me. I'm doing something for a little bit bigger, whether it's like trying to impress my girlfriend or something like that. There's always something every time I go out there.
No, agreed, man. And one thing we want to do is build that passion to compete, but also build rivalry. Sports at its best is when you have a rival, right? And I mean, I'm not saying that you have to be angry or. I mean, look, you can go out, beat each other up on the field, and then go have beers later on. You know what I mean? But there has to be a healthy rivalry. I mean, let me say this: the NBA sucks right now. NBA absolutely sucks. I mean, it's just a joke. But back in my day, man, is when you had Jordan versus the Pistons. You had Larry Bird.
You had the Knicks
Magic
who were
Johnson.
angry at everyone. You had the Celtics that elbowed people in the face when they wanted to. And the East was totally different. The Bulls had what, 9 different rivalries at that point?
Yeah.
the Pacers,
everybody wanted to be
Pistons, the Knicks, the Celtics. Yeah.
Now NBA, the guys that play, they want to basically get together and play together as one, so they can become this super team. Back in the NBA, when I grew up, man, they didn't want to do that, man. I mean, Reggie Miller stayed with the Pacers because he wanted to beat Jordan. He didn't want to team up with Jordan. He wanted to beat Jordan. He didn't ever beat him, but he never didn't even think about teaming up with those guys. You know what I mean? There was a rivalry that took place, and they saw each other multiple times a year or whatever. That is, I think, already starting, guys. I'm telling you straight up, man. Trust me. I've seen some of the chatter that's going on as you guys get on the road. And if a team beats you, I mean, whether it be Massachusetts Maulers or whatever, hopefully that'll never happen. But or if they come into your house and they take the W from you, it's an instant rival, man. It's like, oh my God, they just went to my house on my river and they beat me. They're gonna pay. You know what I mean? We're gonna do the same thing when we go to theirs. You know what I mean? But
Correct.
Again, it's that competition. Yes, sir.
So I have a question for you. Do you think this is about the league? Do you think that there could be in the future anything going on with super teams forming in the KFL? Do you ever foresee that happening?
Here's the deal. I don't think so. And there was a team that tried to get put together that was a monster team. The problem is the scheduling of their schedules were so complex. I don't think there could ever be a super team like that. And I don't think logistically it could work because a lot of these big heavy hitters are so spread out across the country.
But yeah,
I don't think that could. Yeah, I don't think that could work. I really don't. Yeah, I mean, unless they have private jets or like limousines and all that stuff taking them all across the country, I just don't think it's going to work. It just doesn't make sense. Another thing, too, guys, we love the bigger names, but honestly, Chris, the thing for the KFL is like taking your story of somebody that may have never heard of you, see you compete in this level, and be like, man, this dude, now, I mean, like you're going to be known nationally when they see you throw up 12 bass for your team and become the MVP. You know what I mean? That's how you can make names, because all eyes are going to be on this. Good or bad or indifferent, people are going to be watching this, man. And they're going to be like, okay, what's this thing all about? So it's up to us as anglers. It's up to us as players. It's up to us, who's kind of behind the mic, to make this the best experience for this league as possible. And man, I tell you what, man. But I'll tell you, man, your team. I've been talking to a lot of people about this. Your team specifically has been brought up a lot by me, because I can see what the Knicks and the Ryans are doing, nationally, on the national level. And then, then Bay State Attack's coming to you. Okay. Jack Tibbins came. He's on Bay State Attack. Jack Tibbins came to the Potomac River, won. You have Ryan Nye, that came in and just won Candlewood. I mean, these guys are in that world, man. I wouldn't take them lightly at all. Those guys can travel and they can fish. So, some of them might have that experience here on the Susquehanna. I don't know, but it's gonna be an interesting matchup to see what you guys do at home first week for sure.
I think the biggest thing that we have on our side is time on the water in the area that we have. I mean, like you heard Mark say, he grew up there. And when I started to kayak fish, everyone yelled at me to go to fish Susquehanna. So for about 6 months, I spent my time on this section of the river figuring it out. And I have plenty of areas to choose from, if they're crowded, if they're not crowded. And depending on the time of year, we all kind of have a general idea of where and how fish are going to hold on this on the river. And I think that's going to be that's the advantage of the home game. We picked a pretty large section. Some of it during this time of year is going to be an absolute dead zone, and some of it is going to be the complete opposite, and it's going to be 95 inches an angler. So it's one of those things where if you don't know this section of the river like we do, I don't think you're going to have the same success or in as easy as time as you might think on the Susquehanna. It changes every year. And I don't want to say the Susquehanna is declining necessarily, but it's just getting tougher with the amount of pressure and then the amount of pollution that's going into that river. We're seeing smallmouth populations change and start to adapt. And I think that we've just understood that a little bit sooner than everyone else.
Right.
Which that's just going to be the biggest advantage.
I mean, the Susquehanna is not an easy fishery by any means. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're just going to throw a Ned rig into a rock and you're going to catch fish there, man. I mean, that it's not that easy. It really is. I mean, look
5 years ago it was like
did.
that. 5 years ago it was like that. Well, what's crazy is I fished probably 200 yards from Mike Canelli last year during the Hobie BOS on day one, and I blanked. I caught 0, but I went to a different spot on day 2 and I caught 92.5 inches. So
crazy. It's
one of those things where it's right place, right time, right presentation, right time. But unless you're putting that time in, you're not going to figure it out.
Yeah.
But they're going to catch fish. People are going to catch fish. There's going to be big numbers, but it's going to be how consistent can you be with those big numbers. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing is if Mark can be consistent with his 520-inch fish, and I can be consistent with my 520-inch fish, and Nick comes in with another 19. 40, whatever, however many he catches. I think that's going to be the biggest thing is how consistently we keep our size average up. Well, if we start to slag and come in with a 13, 14-inch average, that's not going to cut it.
Right.
So it's one of those things where we have to be consistent throughout the day. And I think the way it's been fishing last year, this year so far, because I've already spent some time out there, and I know Mark has too, on some of these creeks and figuring out what these fish are, where they're at in their stages and everything like that. So I think we're a couple steps ahead already, which is good.
Without giving it kind of too much of your juice away, I mean, is a good strategy for you guys to kind of fish all in the same area, or are you guys going to be spreading your guys out all over the river?
I don't think we've talked about that yet as a team, but I think it's one of those things where we have enough local knowledge to be able to spread out and be confident about it if we wanted to.
Right.
And at the same time, if we know that a stretch is producing, be able to all fish it effectively together and really maximize the potential of, say, we're fishing a certain eddy line, or we know that there's a ledge that's going to produce all day, then yeah, that'd be something we could definitely think about. But I think because of the strengths of each of us, Nick's a great power fisherman. Mark's a really good mix. And I think that, I'm solid with a bull shad on the river that I think we can maximize the big bites wherever we are, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, look, one of the things that's going to be very difficult for people to understand here too, man. This is a team event, right? And we're all used to fishing individually. We're afraid to give up what's going on. I mean, we're afraid to give up. Like we're in a tournament, and like, hey, man, I'm not going to tell you when I'm catching them on or where I'm going to be catching them on. That is going to be the hardest thing about all this is not having to protect the information, and that's something that anglers in this team event format are going to have to do to be successful. I mean, it's tough, but you're going to have to do it. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, I already gave away what I'm going to be doing. I'm throwing a bull shad. Like I'm gonna throw a 6-inch bull shad all day and hope I catch a bunch of 20-inch fish.
Pigs.
Which that's the thing. Like that's what I go to the river to do is I throw a big glide bait or I throw a big swim bait. And my averages are usually consistently bigger. And I know Nick's going to go out there with a square bill or a jackhammer or something moving and stick with it. And it's going to be in his hands for 8 hours and he's not going to switch if it's working. So
Right.
I think we like, that's the thing. We understand each other's strengths really well. And we can put people in areas that we know they'll work.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Chris, one last thing before we get to Nick. One thing that you remember is your best kayak fishing memory that you've had.
Oh, best kayak fishing memory.
Or worst.
No. This is kind of best and worst. So
all right, perfect.
It's the KBF Northeast Open in 2018. Dave Lefebvre was fishing it, and at the end of day one, I only had 5 bites on day one, maybe 6, maybe I lost one, but as soon as I measured my 5th fish and I broke 90 inches, I said, I'm going to win. Like, I'm going to win this thing. And then I went back to check in and everybody slapped me on the back saying, hey, you're beating Dave Lefebvre right now. I didn't look at the leaderboard because I was like, I had knots in my stomach, the whole thing. That was one of the most exciting, best days of fishing in that I can vividly remember from a kayak. And then all disaster broke loose. My battery blew up the next morning. I didn't have a fish finder on the main lake of Lake Erie. And I ended up catching 4 fish that day. I ended up in 7th place, but just outside the money since not many people signed up for that one. But
oh man. Wow.
Yeah, so it was like the highest of highs to the lowest of lows within like
this sport, dude.
It was probably within like 6 hours too, because I like went to bed like batteries plugged in. I'm like, this is gonna be great. I had just put like a Helix 7 on my kayak for the first time too. I was like, oh, nobody puts big fish finders on these boats yet. And like that's the thing. Like think about that. Back in 2018, I was like, wow, a 7-inch fish finder is big.
You're the godfather, man, of electronics, man.
No, see, but that's the thing. I was just emulating other, like that's when it was starting. That's like right. Now we're sitting here. You got 2 guys in the corner here who are running Panoptics and going nuts with 14-inch laptops on there.
Insanity. It's insanity. They've got 1,000 pounds of batteries on their kayak. It's crazy, man. Good stuff. All right, Nick, let's talk to you, man. Nick, let's talk a little bit about you. Where you're from and all that good stuff, and then we'll get into some juicy stuff.
Yeah, so I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania, and I've been fishing pretty much my whole life. I've been pan fisherman and not really into bass fishing. And I just remember when I'd be going with my grandfather when I was younger, we'd go to the ponds and we'd always be fishing for the panfish, and I'd always just want to fish for the bass. And ever since then, it's just something that like I've always just had an interest in is bass fishing specifically. So like I said, I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania. I went to school down in Philadelphia. I went to Westchester University, and then I went to law school at Drexel, and I'm currently actually studying to take the bar in July.
Nice.
And hopefully be able to pass and then go on to be an attorney.
Right, right on. What kind of attorney are you looking to be?
I'm looking to do labor law.
Okay.
Yeah, labor law, representing school districts, that sort of thing.
Very cool, man. Very cool. So, sport wise, I mean, do you have a sports background, or I mean, do you have a competitive background that got you into this?
So I played. Yeah, I played sports when I was younger. Nothing organized in high school, but then around when I was 14, I took a real big interest in playing basketball, and I played a lot of basketball, club tournaments, that sort of thing. Then I went to school, played on intramural games, that sort of thing, and then finally ended up playing on the Drexel Law School club basketball team that we would go
Nice.
and we would play under law schools. So, and actually, I didn't start fishing competitively until last year, to 2020 when the pandemic started. I used to play basketball all the time. I would play almost every day, and after the pandemic started, the gyms closed, all of that stuff. I mean, I was fishing for a long time before that out of a kayak, but I met Ryan when I was fishing at a local lake, and he introduced me to KBF, and I said, well, this is great. I mean, I could fill that competitive void that I was missing from playing basketball all the time.
Right on. Dude, so look, man, like I said before, when we first talked, I mean, you have quickly become a very well-known name in the kayak fishing community. You both and Ryan have done very, very well. What changed for you, man, in the last like year and a half, man, that's made you get to that other level, man? I mean, everybody's trying to break that ceiling, right? You know?
Yeah.
But you seem to just like come on the scene and just, you know, we always see your name on top of the leaderboard, man. What changed?
I think it's the process. I like the process of fishing almost as much as I like fishing, actually going out and fishing. I love map study. I love looking at different times of year, different weather patterns, what lures work when you can push the envelope and really power fish versus when you have to step back and finesse fish. I just love the process of getting ready for a tournament. It's something that I really enjoy.
So if you were to give a percentage of breakdown, what percentage would you give of having knowledge pre-fishing compared to the actual fishing? I mean, you know, meaning is, you know, how much do you think of your success percentage-wise is the pre-fishing side compared to the actual fishing itself?
Well, I would say it's a 50-50 split. Pre-fishing could be tough because if you go out there, first off, it's hard not to want to catch all your fish if you have
true
pre-fishing day.
I'm the king of pre-fishing, dude.
Yeah,
king.
It's hard to lay off of them.
No doubt.
Very hard to lay off of them, but I still think pre-fishing is important. Just not even so much making casts, just seeing the water, being able to see the water, be able to get a feel for where you're fishing. That in and of itself is a huge help come tournament day. When you go out there on the tournament, you're familiar with your area. You know what the fish generally should be doing based on your study beforehand. I think that the biggest thing is being able to just be able to look at the body of water beforehand and know what should be going on and what you want to do. Have a game plan, pretty much.
You seem to be very well prepared, and you know you don't ever look in the future per se, but you want to be prepared, right? Looking at your schedule that happened this year, man, looking at, you know, where you have to go, it's usually up in the New England areas where your games are going to be. What team are you looking to face the most?
What team am I looking to face the most? I mean,
say it.
Big names.
Say it.
Call them out, Nick. Don't answer the question.
Don't hold back.
All right. Well, let's just say we want to see the Maulers.
Ah, yes. Yep. The Maulers, yes, exactly. Yeah, they are stacked. Yep. Let's just be honest. If there's any stacked teams, it's definitely the Maulers. What would it mean to you? What would it mean to you to go to Massachusetts and beat them on their water?
It would be great. I mean, it would mean everything. We would really be establishing ourselves and putting Pennsylvania fishing on the map, showing that there are legitimate anglers in Pennsylvania that can really fish. That's what motivates me the most. Showing that our area, our state, our area of the state that we're in, we want to be able to put that on the map.
Would you say that yours and Ryan's performance at Candlewood gave you a little bit more confidence going into this season?
For sure. I mean, it was my best finish I've had at KBF. I had the third place finish at Candlewood. That was my best finish I've had. And it just, I feel like once you get like one good finish and then two good finishes, I went up to Cayuga the week before for that elite kayak fishing event, and I had a 6th place finish there. And I feel like they start rolling. You feel like it starts clicking, and you really get it. You can really get it going.
One question for you. Who do you think let's say this. Other than your team winning the championship, who do you think will win the KFL championship this year? Other than the Pennsylvania Bronzebacks.
Yeah.
What team, north or south, do you think has a good shot of winning this whole thing?
I think it's got to be the Maulers.
Okay.
I think they've got some legitimate sticks on that team. I fished against these guys before. They've beat me in events, and I've seen them fish. I know what they're capable of. I think they have a legitimate team.
Gotcha. Very cool, man. Very cool. Well, what number are you? Now, let's see. Mark's 10. Chris is 69. What number are you, Nick?
Number 6.
Number 6. What does that mean?
It was just my number I always had when I was playing sports growing up.
Cool.
It's always been one of my favorite numbers.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, good stuff, man. Good stuff, dude. Good luck on the bar exam coming July, bro. We hope we get to celebrate that with you, man.
Thanks.
That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Ryan, it's your turn, buddy.
Yeah, man. So I might not be able to make the best eye contact because I am.
That's okay, man. Don't worry about that, bud. Don't worry about that. So it's Ryan Matalevich, is that correct?
Matalevich, yeah.
Very cool, man.
Yeah, we're close.
Very cool. Well, man, listen, dude, as I said, just like Nick, man, seeing your name on the top of the leaderboards, just coming and dude, you're so like versatile, man. Like fishing on Potomac River system and then going up to Candlewood and then, your home waters at the river, at Susquehanna. I mean, dude, that is impressive, man. What is your key, my friend, to success in your recent success, man?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like Nick said it best. I think research and just the obsession, pure fishing obsession, I guess, would probably be what it is. I mean, some people probably obviously question the amount of time, and Nick and I had a discussion about it earlier about the amount of time, money, and basically our entire life that we dedicate to just trying to trick a little green or brown fish into eating a bait. And it's that's really what it comes down to, man. I mean, we also just pointed out the other day, like it's 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Out in the parking lot at hotels in between tournaments, and Nick and I are out there rigging, smacking mosquitoes, trying to not get bit, and still making changes and doing last minute addresses and just going through stuff and just trying to make sure that everything is just that. I mean, everybody's been asleep for 4 or 5 hours, and we're still out there geeking out, trying to figure out what we want to do and how we're going to change, and tying on a 3/16 and cutting it off and putting a 1/4 ounce on, then going back to a 3/16. And I mean, it's just what we do, And, that's what it is. I mean, having an open mind, going out there, not getting kind of overwhelmed. I mean, it's happened to everybody. When it happens, just trying to not spin out is the hardest thing, and being able to keep a calm, cool, collected mindset of just going out there and being able to focus on making something happen. And when it's something doesn't go your way, being able to kind of make that quick adjustment, I think, is probably the most key to being able to place well and not getting messed up and trying to make these hour-long runs, which I've done and Nick's done and we've all done it, where you just think something's not going on, you start like scrambling and going in circles. You just got to kind of take a deep breath and ask God for guidance and sit there and just take a little bit of a breather and then just go back to fishing and remember that's what you're there for, just to fish and have fun. And I mean, that usually seems to bring it together for me, and just like I said, not just trying to remember I'm out there to have a good time and going out there and just fishing and having fun and enjoying what I'm doing and taking a minute to look at the sunrise and see the birds flying, and not just getting super obsessed, remembering to take a drink of water. That's something I actually have to think about, because I'll go the whole time and then be like gasping for air at the end of the day because I didn't take a minute to take a drink instead of continuously casting. So
right, I'm going to give these names out: Russ Snyders, Jody Queen, Cody Milton, Christine Fisher, Matthew Conant, Mike Elsey, and Derek Brundle. Your name is in the mix of all those gentlemen battling it out for the 10 house, and you're right there, man. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I've had in all those names, the one thing that is to be said about that is I'm on a first name basis with most of them. And I had the opportunity to meet them. And I mean, they're all great people. You know what I mean? There's down to earth, good people that would go out of their way to help you. And I mean, Derek, just the last event we fished at Candlewood, I mean, everybody was making like 5-mile runs from our launch to get to where we were trying to fish and bed fish and go for those smallmouth. My dad was having a little bit of a battery issue, and Derek took a break. Everybody was rat racing to get to where they were trying to go and circled back just to make sure that we were okay. You know what I mean? And Derek's like right there trying to get the points just as much as I am. So it just goes to show, I mean, there's just all those people are just such good anglers, and to be able to be possibly mentioned in that group is just, I mean, that's the dream. That's what I've been doing this whole thing for. So
yeah, no doubt.
I'm just humbled,
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. So, what's your background, man? What do you do? Are you married? Do you have kids? I mean, what's your background?
I'm engaged. No kids right now. We got 2 dogs. That's
They are
for
kids.
the
They are
kids.
kids, man.
Yeah. And as far as I own my own excavating company, so I do
Nice.
foundation, septic systems, land clearing, basically any kind of heavy equipment work is what I do for a living.
Cool, man. Sports background? Do you have anything like that?
When I was young, I played some sports, and then as I got a little bit older into like the teenage years, I was more into like motorcycles and dirt bikes and quads and ATVs and that
There you
kind of
go.
stuff. I grew up on the farm, so anything with a motor is kind of where where I was going, and it was just like cars, Jeeps, just working that kind of stuff and off road, and that's kind of what stole me away from the sports scene. I was just always out trying to have a good time and have fun, and fishing. I was always an outdoorsy type person. I used to hunt a lot more so than fish when I was younger, and then I did fish, but it was just always like a pond fisherman, went there with a worm and threw it at the banks. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was it. But then in the last I'd probably say the last 5-6 years, it's just drastically changed for me. I mean, I really became like super involved in bass fishing, and that's where I've been focused. Before that, I was kind of on the muskie kick, and then it switched, and I got into the bass thing again, and then I just haven't been able to pull away from it. So.
What are you looking forward to the most to this upcoming season, man? What one thing are you trying to just hone in on?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's to fish with my friends, man. I mean, we joke around talking about the maulers, but I mean, every guy on that is like just a damn good dude, and just to go out and fish with those guys and have a good time and be able to compete with them. I mean, obviously the competition's there, right? That's what it's all about. We have a great time, but being able to just have the same body of water with these guys and have a good time and share some laughs and jabs and just go out there and have a good time and fish with my team and my buddies and be able to do it on that team level. Like I've said that so many times. I mean, just being able to share a bag as opposed to being able to go out there just fishing for your own 5 fish. Like, it's great to hear a buddy, you're fishing the same tournament. Nick called, he's like, oh, I got a 20. I'll hear him yell. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. At the same time, I'm like, shit. so like,
damn you!
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know. Trust me. I mean, we love to fish with our friends and everything else. Well, I got a story to tell you, man. Listen to this. So I was pre-fishing. I was by myself, guys. It was me versus the Norfolk Privateers this past weekend, right? And none of my guys could get on the water Saturday. It was miserable, dude. I mean, it was like rainy. It was miserable, and I was catching. I caught like the 8 or 9 fish for the team. And I get a call I was out there at 6 o'clock in the morning. First 5 casts, I catch bass, man, scoreable bass. Boom, 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 boom. And I get a call from my teammate, Mike Garland, right? And Mike, he's like, hey, man, are you out there fishing? I'm like, yeah, dude. He goes, yeah, I just got on the water. He goes, I caught a 19 and a half and an 18 and 3/4. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Put it up on the board for the Warhawks. Let's go. He goes, I'm in my John boat. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, he goes, man, my kayak's not ready for the season yet. I gotta get it wired up. And I'm like, man, did you have to call me and tell me that, dude? But I was like, man, dude, it's like, come on, man. I'm like, I'm happy for you, but dude, you suck. Oh well, man. But it's all good, man. I mean, he was so happy because he was struggling trying to find fish, but he found 2 porkers right there back to back, man. It's kind of like, daggone it, man. I could have used that, man. I could have used that. It's all good though, man. It's all good. But he's benched. He's benched.
It's all good, but
it's great, man. But so going into the season, man. I mean, look, as I said, you were instrumental from the very beginning, man. You and Nick. We talked a lot. We kind of bounced off a lot of ideas and stuff like that. And I would say, man, I can't thank you guys enough for your support, man, because this couldn't happen without any of the anglers and the excitement that this is bringing. And, it's coming to fruition, man. It looks so great. I'll be honest with you. I've used Fishing Chaos in terms of the tournament management system. We were kind of looking around for that, but how it looks on Fishing Chaos, I think it looks outstanding on how we can score that. The broadcasting standpoint of it's going to be fantastic as well. But we're going to end it with this. Give me a prediction of score coming up against Bay State Attack, June 12th. And we're going to go around the circle.
Yes, start with you, Nick. All right, I'm done at Nick's here.
Yeah, tosses that off to me. I realistically think it could, the way the river has been fishing and the time of year that we're in, I think it could take 100, 180 to win. I think
Okay.
181 maybe.
Yeah, that's pretty decent, man. That's a good bag of smallies.
Yeah. Yep. Chris, you might have a better prediction than me.
I think if you hit that 178 mark, you're sitting pretty. My real answer is 1 million. We're gonna hit 1 million, and they're gonna catch 0.
I doubt it, man. I don't know who's going to be starting. We're going to figure out who's going to be starting for the Bay State Attack, but I doubt they're going to catch 0. That is a good team, man.
Yeah,
good team.
They've got some sticks on that team.
They do. Yeah, man. Who are the starters? We got Mark. We know that's starting. Who else is starting for you guys?
It's going to be me, Mark, Chris, and Mick Wood.
Okay, very good. And Mick Wood, I know he's not able to join us tonight, but that dude right there is, you better watch out for that guy.
He is an unbelievable river angler. He is really good.
For sure.
I don't know another guy that puts in more time than Mick Wood on the river. I couldn't name another person.
Dude, and a really good guy to interview, man. He's like down pat, like stone cold in front of the camera, man.
Yeah.
You know, he should be the White House press secretary, not under the current administration, but a different administration.
That was how you feel there, Greg.
Right. Exactly. But no, he's such a good interview, man. Good guy. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do, man. I mean, you know, I don't know if you saw what happened over the weekend. Did you see the score that the Florida Copperheads put up on their homeowners?
No, what was it?
No.
Just take a guess.
115.
Florida Copperheads? Florida.
A lot more.
221.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking one fish bag.
221. That's a 22-inch average. That will never happen. Ever. Yeah. That was like an NBA All-Star game with no defense.
What's their home water? Have they disclosed that?
Yeah, they have. It's Tenarock, and it's going to be Tenarock and Headwaters.
Yeah, that's why.
Oh yeah. Listen,
I'm telling you, if you put us on Headwaters, it'd be 200. It'd be 220 all day.
Hey,
I'm not kidding. Honestly, I'm not kidding.
I welcome
the
to see that.
way we have to fish up here would translate so well to Headwaters, and I fished there twice, and that's. I mean, when your average is 7.5 pounds, you're doing good. So
can we talk a little smack? Can we do a little Mason-Dixon border battle?
Listen, here's the thing. We'll go down there. We'll smack anyone. They can come up here. They won't catch any fish.
So the consensus is a lot of Southern guys, especially in Texas and Florida, man, they get a little butthurt when we talk about the versatility of a Northern angler. They don't want to hear it. But no. I mean, but I'll tell you what, though. Look at the stats. Look who's come down to the KBF National Championship, and I think the last 5 national champions have come from the North. How do you explain that?
Dwayne Taft was Texas. He's the only one, right?
Right. That's right. I think 5 out of the 6. That's right.
I mean, even going way back to when it was just the Open in 2015, that was a guy from 20 minutes away from me here in PA. So we are scrappy, and we have to be. That's the thing. Like, our lakes don't like to give up big fish, so we have to work extra hard. So for us to find a consistent 20-inch like average like Mick did in this monthly challenge, you got to grind. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the effort, and that's the thing. I think for us to be able to work together, the guys on this team are all grinders, and the fact that we're all going to be on the water at the same time, working for the same goal, we're set.
Right, and actually, you did pretty well during the KBF National Championship at Kissimmee. If I remember correctly, you did do okay, man. I mean, dude, you don't see that type of fishery around where you're at, man. What made you? What was your key to success, man? I mean, you've never
honestly,
seen anything like that.
I did good pre-fishing at that event. I mean, we had some big fish and stuff, but as far as the main event, I did not do good at that event. I ended up having to leave after day one. And had to come home for that blizzard. I don't know if you remember that. And we had to do the snow.
I do.
All that
Yes,
stuff.
I
I had a
do.
bunch of
Yes.
commercial snow contracts, but
Yeah.
we ended up having a great pre-fish. And then that event, we ended up going to a different total body of water because there were some issues down there, and there was mentions of the launch that we were going out of was blown in with floating hyacinth, and there was no way to access the launch, and so we didn't do it. So we went to a complete different place that we didn't even have any experience on. My dad actually did pretty decent, but then I didn't have a full bag even, I don't think, that day.
Yeah, Ryan and I followed each other around, hoping someone would pick something up.
yeah. And then, like I said, it was a bummer because it ended up like a lot of people actually end up going to that ramp anyway and cutting through together and getting.
I know exactly what ramp you're talking about. We did the same thing, dude.
And it was like I said, I had like I had one that I didn't catch that I watched blow up that I had in a net. I have a video for it. I got to put it out, but that was like a solid 10-pounder, like 26 inches. That I had in my boat. I got some photos of it. I pulled like a 11 or 12-inch catfish out of its throat.
Wow. I got a question for you guys. Tournament fishing, right? Tournament fishing. Here we go. Do you guys know when you go to a tournament fishing area and you know that you're not going to fish it, right? You're just looking for like backup spots, like that's your C, D, and E spots. Yeah. Do you try to catch as many fish and sore lip the crap out of those fish so the people who are fishing that spot just completely get humbled and spit upon?
Yeah, we do. And I also try to not do it to my own spots, but I end up sore lipping the hell out of my own fish too. You want to go to a specific example today? We were pre-fishing obviously for the event up here in St. Clair. We found 2 solid fish literally side by side. I'm like getting ready to get out the water. I'm like, yeah, no, it's pretty decent, man. I think we got some good spots here. And I'm like, dude, I know where there's a couple pigs right here, Nick. He's like, no, there's not. I'm like, no, they're big, dude. I'm like, I marked them. He's like, I just want to look at them.
Let me feel what they look like.
we literally got there. Spent 5-10 minutes on each fish, and we both pulled them in. He pulled in like at the same time. He pulled in a 20 and a quarter, and I pulled in a 20. I was like, dude, why did we do that?
But you know what, dude? Smallmouths are stupid. They'll eat the next hour.
For sure, they'll definitely bite again.
Yeah, man, dude, they're not like largemouths, man. They'll chomp.
Look, it's curiosity killed the cat. I get it, but we had to see how big they were. You know what I mean?
The way they spawn there too, it's like a drawn out process there. It's not like it happens overnight like it does in PA.
Yeah, no, it was I don't know. And honestly, we're probably looking where we were at. I don't think it's going to hold up for us anyway with the current conditions we're up against. So we're on to new and better stuff tomorrow to try to find some other things out anyway. But I definitely, like I said, at the end of the day, we're there. We're going to win, but at the same time, we're there to have fun and fish too. So I mean, it is real tough. You know, you only get 4 days away on some of these beautiful, like the places we're at right now, St. Clair, man. I mean, how often do I get to fish St. Clair? So come out here and spend 2 of my days that I'm actually going to be fishing and not catch fish. Like, no, not about that life.
No, of course not, man. I mean, listen, we have to play the Motor City Ambassadors. I think it's in July. I cannot wait to get out there, man. It is fantastic. It is fantastic. They think they have an upper hand, but man, I'm bringing some guns with me, man. I got some guys that know that area, man. So strategic, man. Yeah. So, man, I tell you what, though, how sweet would it be to go to St. Clair and beat those local guys on that body of water? That's ultimate, incredible, man.
Yeah, I mean, I only fished this. I fished this place once, man. It was like 4 years ago. It was like when I first started fishing tournaments. It was a Hobie event. It wasn't even a Hobie event. I think it was I can't remember.
Was it the Battle of the Border?
Yeah, Battle of the Border. It was Rich Offner's event. That was he had that up there, and that was like half in Canada and half was in PA or in US, and there was like 150 people in it. And I went out there, dude, and I had this pattern. I found like these largemouth, and I was new to fishing in general. I wasn't even geeked out that much. I got as far as like tournament fishing goes, and I got in these largemouth, man. I was catching like 50, 60 largemouth a day, just crushing them. And I'm like, oh, dude, I got something good. And then like within minutes, I saw the leaderboard go up. I'm like, I'm screwed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's
I mean,
dude.
and
Those
it's like
boys from Canada
18 inch,
know how to
19 inch
fish too, man.
largemouth, you know, and it's just you need to be on the good smallmouth here. I mean, they say largemouth have won. I don't see it happening. But there's just so many chunky smallmouths up here, man, and it's just so much fun to go out and like just crush them.
I'll tell you though, man. I mean, I've noticed, you know, the smallmouths, you know, in those like Lake Erie or St. Clair, they're not the smallmouths I know. The smallmouths I know here in the river will absolutely crush you to death.
I am not being even a little, like, not exaggerating even a tad bit. That 20-inch smallmouth that I caught came in easier than a 12-inch smallmouth in the river does at the dam. You know,
it's insane.
They all go off the chain. You know what I mean? You try and land one of them on a jerk bait or something.
Yeah,
it's just game over. Like it's. I can't even tell you how many smallmouth on the river, and when I'm fishing heavy current with jerk baits or something, like it's like, I mean, your landing ratio is like 20%. You know? It'll give you gray hair, but I mean, these fight that definitely don't fish. The fish up here definitely don't fight anywhere close to the smallmouth on the river. I don't think
100% agree.
I don't even think they fight as hard as the smallmouth in like upstate New York, like Lake George and like some of those lakes up there. Like those smallmouth would come up easy and then they just dive bomb like super hard. And it's just, I think when they're out deeper, you know what I mean, they're a little warm up and up here, but they just seem like they don't fight. I mean,
well, they're too fat. They're like, oh, you caught me. I'm just gonna spiral up to your line. The end of my life. Oh my gosh. You know,
they're not the hardest fighters, that's for sure.
No, they're not, dude.
They fight like largemouths up here.
We have a river here called the Rappahannock River. It's a very, very well known river in terms of smallmouth fishing here. And you hook a Rappahannock smallmouth bass, dude, if you don't get at least 4 or 5 jumps out of it, you know what I mean, and them smashing their heads in against the rocks and then going underneath your kayak or whatever, man, they are on crack. They really are. They are just small. You know, they're crazy, but they're so much fun, man.
There's nothing like smallmouth bass, man. And usually, like I said, the fish comes in. I end up bloody. The fish ends up bloody. We both go back to having a good day. It's just I have troubles in my hand. But it's a blast, you know, trying to get a picture of those things. I don't know how many. I can't remember. I don't think I've lost maybe 1 or 2 largemouths off the board. I probably lost, even at this last event, when I got 6th place up at Candlewood. I had a 19.5 or jump off the board, a smallmouth on me before I got his picture. It would have put me in 3rd place.
Oh, that stinks, dude. Nick thanks you for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Paid that fish.
It was on a different day.
Did Nick tickle his butthole? I heard somebody say that. I'm like, I ain't tickling a fish's butthole to get it calmed down, man.
Yeah, no, those smallmouth, man, they are assholes. I'll be honest. They're not very friendly fish.
No, they're not, man. But I mean, that's what, you know, that's, again, they're a special breed, man. I'd rather catch a smallmouth any day, man. Give me a 17-inch smallmouth that'll fight me to death.
Yes,
I'll be honest with you, than a 20-inch largemouth any day. Any day.
Smallmouth are definitely, like, people just don't get it. I mean, those guys down south that are all about their largemouth, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, largemouth are fun, but I mean, you put it this way: you get giant smallmouth. Maybe they don't get as big. You get 5-6 pounders still in the smallmouth range, but you don't get like the big, like 8 pounders as often as you do with like the largemouth. But you can go catch a whole lot of the smallmouths. You know what I mean? Because they're eating like those small baits, and they're just constantly eating. So they're so much more aggressive and so much more fun and energetic, and they're just always on the hunt. Where the largemouth are like big, fat, lazy fish that eat 1 bluegill a week and then just sit there under a shade tree. So it's like,
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, look, I'll have to give like the Potomac River credit. I mean, the Potomac River, you get a 15 or 16 inch largemouth, they fight very similar to a smallmouth.
Those
Potomac River largemouth, they fought really hard.
They do.
Yeah.
Dude, it's all about that tidal, the tidal river. Anywhere tidal, they're always going to be just like they're in the gym every day. That's the thing. They're working out every single day. Those smallmouth up on St. Clair are literally sitting at the buffet every day.
Right. I tell you, the bass. Let me say, like, we have the snakeheads here, you know, and there's a big thing about snakeheads being like a complete, you know, invasive fish, and you know they're going to destroy that. Let me tell you something, man. I've been fishing Potomac River just about all my life. Ever since those snakeheads have been coming in, the bass have been super, super aggressive. I mean, they're competing for food. You know what I mean? And these snakeheads are not eating the bass fry. It's the other way around. These bass are eating the snakehead fry.
They're bright orange.
Gorging them.
Yeah, they're bright orange. How can they not eat them? Like
100%.
Snakehead fry are literally little French fries for bass. And like honestly, we have them in South Jersey too, and it's the same thing. Some of these places that were so worn out or polluted, or the bass fishing was like really terrible, have really turned on the past couple of years. And you see it in some of like those local, when Mike Ike does some of those like local videos in South Jersey, like it's kind of changed some of the watershed there. And it's one of those things where I love, there's nothing like a 10-pound snakehead blown up on a frog, first off.
Oh, it's awesome.
So I'm okay with snakeheads. I'm not saying put them everywhere, but I'm okay with them.
Yeah. I mean, I think now people are starting to understand that they're not as bad as, people thought that they were. And I'll be honest with you, like I said, man, like the quality of fish in the Potomac River has gotten so much better. I've noticed like these fish are healthier, they're greener, they're a lot stronger. I mean, again, I attribute it to because of the forages. They're competing for forage, and they're always moving in and out, like we're talking about with the tidal fishery. But man, it's just right now the Potomac River is a very healthy fishery, and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, those. Go back to the snakehead real quick. I've got a few bowfin. I don't think I've ever actually caught a snakehead. But Nick, I mean, we were talking about fighting fish. Like he had an experience with a snakehead down there at the Potomac, which was unreal.
Yeah, there was 10 minutes left in the first day of the tournament, and I was like sitting on like 11th place. So I'm like right at being able to catch a check, and I hook into this giant fish, and it's just screaming, dragging. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna win the tournament with this fish," and it comes up, and it's a 10-pound snakehead. I have never fought a fish that fought harder than that snakehead. It was it's unbelievable.
They say it's one thing to catch a snakehead, it's another thing when you land it.
Yeah, right.
The fight just begins.
Yeah,
like they'll slap the crap out of you, dude. So I'll tell you a story. I was fishing the river, and I had an 8-pound test line with a Christie crawl Texas rig, and I was flipping in wood, and I had a spinning rod. Okay, and I hooked it. I felt this thump, and all of a sudden, zzz, I'm like, oh, holy crap! Here we go, man! Like the 8-9 pound bass. I cannot wait. Yeah. And the thing started rolling like an alligator. I'm like, oh man, this has got to be a catfish. And then it came up and rolled again, and I was like, holy moly! I mean, the head on it was about as big as my thigh, and I was like, holy crap! And then it started going down, and these snakeheads, what they do is they lay flat down, right? In the mud, and then you're trying to pull them up. I had 8-pound test line on, and I finally get it up, and then it comes around in my kayak and everything else, and I'm feathering my drag. Well, about 45 minutes later, I get this snakehead in. Guys, it's 16 pounds. It's 37 inches, 16 pounds. Okay, so I get it in my yak, and the thing is just flopping all over my yak, man. My yak is doing this and everything else. And this guy on the bass boat sees me, catch this thing. He goes, I got to weigh this thing, man. And so he's trying to open the lid, and that thing was like boxing him and punching him in the face and doing some uppercuts and everything else. I'm like, man, just put this thing back. So I took it to shore. I got it measured. I got it weighed. I did the girth and all that stuff. And I said, wait a minute, man. This is probably close to a world record. I'm like, I mean, this is like a world record snakehead on an 8-pound test line. So I called the IFGA, and they looked it up. They're like, yeah, it's a world record, man. Send in your line, send in your hook, and we'll get you certified. I said, sweet, man. And so I'm excited. I send in because they ask you for the spool. They also ask you for 3 feet of line so they can do some pull tests. And then they ask you for the hook and all that stuff. So, I send it all in. And I get a call about 2 weeks later from the IFGA. And they're like, hey, Greg, we got done with your testing. Your line pulled at a 12.2 pound test on average. I'm like, okay. I mean, that's pretty good for an 8-pound test line. They're like, dude, your world record is you lost it because that is a different line class. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? They're like, yeah, that's a 16-pound line class, and that biggest snakehead's at 17.6 pounds. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I used a Berkeley extra strength 8-pound test, and they basically made a 12-pound test line, and they marketed it as 8-pound extra strength, and they were going to call Berkeley on our behalf. How ridiculous! I lost a world record because it pulled 12.2 pounds.
Yeah, I've actually heard of that before. That some lines that they have that are labeled as a certain weight are not actually that weight, and they're more or less. So like I know when guys like I was watching some YouTube videos where guys go for world record fish in certain line classes, they actually do the pull test before they go to make sure that they'll be okay if they're going to land a world record, so that it'll be certified.
Yeah. Yeah. My buddies were like, well, dude, you should have sent in like some other 8-pound line that you caught it on. I'm like, dude, that's 8-pound test line. You know what I mean? Like, what? I didn't know. I mean, but yeah, I mean, that's crazy, dude. I mean, I was so upset, but I'm sure by now it would have been beaten anyway, because these snakeheads are growing like weeds out here, man. It's pretty cool to see though.
Yeah, that's awesome though, man. You still got it though, it's still in the old memory bank.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're just amazing. They're just amazing. Well, guys, any final thoughts about the season coming up, man? I mean, anything you guys want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I think we're all good. I just really hope everybody has a good time, a good year, and everybody just goes out and enjoys it, has a lot of fun, and I appreciate all the people that are watching and kind of following along, whether they're another member or another athlete, or if they're just a fan. I just really think that this is going to be a cool ordeal, the whole team collaboration here, and I can't wait to get out there on the water and actually see how this goes with the live footage, and see the hype that we can generate with this thing. And if nothing else, like I said, it's just going to be such a blast to go out there with some of these great anglers and have a good time and go out there and just smack some fish,
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, we had the preseason game with Norfolk at Sandy River, and my memories, obviously, we had a good time, on the water, but my memories the most was the night before. The two teams got together. We're at my camper. We had such a blast, just making jokes and just talking stories, and we had a great time. But as soon as we got on the ramp, it was a whole new ball game, man. It was intense. It was like, like Robert says, hey, man, hey, you're on the other team. Get over there. Like, we're not friends anymore. So anyway, man. Well, guys, good luck. I'm really looking forward to seeing your matchup with Bay State, man. This is going to be a matchup. This is going to be a very interesting matchup, because these guys can fish. I mean, the names that are on these rosters, these guys can fish, and I expect this to be close. I really do. I think this is going to be one of our closest matchups.
I think our whole region is going to be kind of crazy in that way.
It is. And you know what's important? I mean, if you look at the rules of the KFL, there's going to be some tiebreakers. I think it's going to have to happen. And the tiebreakers are obviously head-to-head competitions, number one. Number two is going to be the spread between the fish caught, the inches caught, minus the inches against. So it's important that you guys don't let up. You know what I mean? Because just in case you have tiebreakers.
Gas pedal the whole time.
100%. Nothing to lose, man. Go for it. Well, gentlemen, I enjoyed this conversation, man. I did. I appreciate you guys coming on, man. Looking forward to seeing what you guys do. Let's do it.
Thanks, Craig. Thanks for having us on.
Guys.
Thanks, Craig.
No problem. Have a great night. Take care.
Right,
Bye-bye.